Gentlemen, LCK 2019 Summer. It is game number 2 between GenG and KT. KT were winning until they lost. And this is the guy that stole their dreams away.
And it was an important performance given Peanut's previous struggles on Lee Sin in 2019. I'm just struck by the fact, just came to me, as we should mention that Smeb, making his long-awaited return to the starting roster over Kingen, is that GenG have actually proved untrue a fundamental belief.
What is that?
Well, they just showed us that if you snooze, you win. Because it was a 16-minute cull coming through from Ruler.
Yeah.
And everyone and their dog and their bear and like some Yordles, everyone knew what they were going to do that game. The moment 3 picks happened. And then they won.
Yeah.
And the part in the middle was entirely good.
Yeah. In fact, it's one of those games where you see the GenG won, you look at the comp and you're like, okay. Well, we'll see whether KT can actually do anything about it as we get the chance to select for game number 2. Yumi going to be the first cab off the rank as far as the changes are concerned. Going to be banned here, not wanting to first pick that one away. And the Corki going to remain on the bench.
And what's my boy Smeb going to play is something I would like to know. One of my favorite players of all time. In fact, KT have multiple of those, and yet not many wins.
Yeah.
So, where we at, Smeb, is a fair question to ask. His solo queue public accounts are probably not the best draw. OBGG has some of them, but they're usually outdated. 2 of them unranked, 1 of them plat 1. So, guessing that he has a hidden account I'm not aware of. So, gonna guess one of his friends, like Rumble, will be suggested on this particular draft.
I hope so. Of course, on day number 1 of this week, when the Korean analysts were going through their key picks, I believe there were a couple of Rumbles sitting there.
It's mostly mid-Rumble, though, that's being really highly talked about. Not so much the top lane Rumble.
Well, that's an Ezreal. That's going to be snapped up very, very quickly. It's going to mean that Karma is still available.
Smeb's most played this season, Jace, which is disabled, into Aatrox, Aurelia, and then we all know about the Cannon. So the Cannon would have been one considered, but also banned. He may be on Karma duty, as are we really just doing this again?
Just going to do it again. No Yumi, though. So it's only going to be 2/3 of the discussion.
Well, maybe we're getting Rakan. That's pretty hype. Life's a good Rakan player.
That's true. That is true. Does have the ability with his Gleaming Quill, second proc. Maybe Ardent Sensor Rakan comes in.
Maybe Smeb's going to play Kled. That'd be pretty hype.
That would be hype. I was going to mention it, but the Rumble came to mind first, so...
I could see it. I could see the Kled.
And also works with a lot of healing availability on this squad already, given Ruler's penchant for going towards the Bloodthirster.
Let's see what Fly wants to do, because you can definitely take Karma into the Azir. You could also consider something else. Lux could be wave clearing against it just fine. And are they going to steal away Rakan? Now, I think this is pretty bold with where the power levels are on the champion, but I know listening to LEC, a lot of European pros actually think Rakan is just super strong, and obviously Xayah Rakan is the best way to play it, but they're on the hype train. I think there's a lot of picks you can take here. Nautilus Morgana come to mind.
Yep.
That can really answer. The Rakan, you can just kill Rakan. There's often a way to go. So Nautilus is the one that's being hovered for now on the GenG side. So we're thinking Fly in the mid lane on the Karma. Maybe only one extra utility champion for Ruler.
Unless they do some tricky things, of course that Karma could still be heading back towards the top side for CuVee, so a lot of room for movement here on GenG's side.
Lux could then throw out extra shields.
Yeah, there we go. How many more Ardent Sensor abusers can we include in this composition is my question, given the fact that we do have the Xayah once again.
Action on to score. The Wabam quotient for today has so far been 0. We lost Valdez, and we haven't had a Jarvan game, so...
Yeah.
Sad days.
I'm glad, because the Wabam was so cool that I'd probably accidentally say it, and then I'll feel like I'm stealing a line.
Yeah, it's not your thing. Stop stealing all
of
Valdez's...
I'm not stealing any of Valdez's... I haven't stole it yet, okay? Calm down.
Yeah, you're considering it.
Oh, of course, because it was so cool.
It's true. The Trundle's gone. I wonder which jungler they are considering selecting on the red side. Would it be the previously 7-0 Sejuani?
Potentially. Or could it possibly be the Skarner?
Sejuani Lux would be just the most depressing.
It was
for GenG. And yet, fits the comp just fine.
And also probably the most, predictable. As Sejuani is going to be banned. So thankfully it's not going to be that. So Skarner, pick it up. There we go.
Nice. Nailed it.
Sometimes the predictions aren't too difficult, Papa Smithy.
And now CuVee is between a Gnar and a Karma for his last pick here.
Oh no. Well, he can't play his Gangplank.
So GenG are definitely going to creep together some boring drafts. So what is KT going to do is what I want to know, because this draft could be a lot of things.
Hey, there we go. That's a Crocodile. And Crocodiles remove shields now. And so Karma not as good.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
What? No, now CuVee counterpicks it with Kled. Yeah? And then we
He's been
deny
playing
the
some
healing
notable
from the
Kled
Q.
in solo queue. I retweeted
I know, right?
a clip of him popping off and basically killing 3 people 1v1 in a row.
Yep, that's the one I was referring to when we were talking about it in game number 1.
Jungle. Silas going to be picked up by KT. Oh, yes.
Just do it, Fly. Come
yes.
on. Vel'Koz
Okay.
is also fine.
Take it.
Take it, Vel'Koz.
Doesn't help their front line, but it's someone that does well in lane
There we
against
go.
Azir. A GenG player playing Vel'Koz, and it's not Crown, but someone's got to do it, and it's going to be Fly.
And Fly still feels like a perfectly fine Vel'Koz player.
And Ruler's probably going to have to do a little bit of work himself.
Oh my goodness! What is this? A GenG composition that isn't just AFK until 40 minutes and wins?
Ooh, 38 minutes.
Ooh, some high-paced League of Legends. You guys can have your LEC and all that sort of stuff. We've got the high-octane league waiting for it.
That KT fan that was in the picture looked so emotionally destroyed. So...
Well, that's been every...
Oh,
KT
no, I
fan
was pointing
this
at
year.
my laptop. That's Lower Valet, our famous
Yeah.
EULCS KT Rolster fan.
We've stopped shouting out her KT fandom all that much this year.
She seemed very upset about game number 1. She's watching.
Yeah.
Shout out to Law, friend of the broadcast.
Well, hopefully Law can get at least something from this game.
Smeb's
that's positive.
playing.
And Smeb's playing Renekton, which is good.
Maybe he'll win lane.
Well, he can get rid of the shields, Papa Smith. That's what he can do. That's what the change is.
But you remember that every other part of the lane still hurts a lot.
Oh, yeah, it just completely sucks. But we're just looking for the positives here. My glass is always half full, okay? Even when it's almost empty, it's still half full.
Well, GenG are going to try to find a way to find a ruler carry, and maybe, just maybe, Fly will help out as well. Good lane matchup into the Azir. He didn't have any priority to speak about in game number 1. It's not there the entire time against Vel'Koz, but we see much more of a fight coming out of GenG's mid lane.
Yeah, and Fly will be able to just AFK wave clear these lanes pretty easily with all of the buttons that he has available to himself, so likely to see him a bit more competitive as far as that CS is concerned, but BDD still notorious on this Azir for his laning phase. Let's see whether we can get it done in game 2. I really do love the look of Vel'Koz. I think he just looks, when he's slithering around and when you can do the Uldan. You remember the spazzy Uldan when Vel'Koz got released? That video on YouTube? If you guys haven't seen it, there's a specific emote that you can do on the Vel'Koz, and it looks like he's saying, oh darn, and it's just amazing.
I am not familiar with the exact reference you're talking about, but Vel'Koz is a tentacle monster, so he's very scary. Loves to roll around. In case you're wondering what's with this Vel'Koz versus Azir, and you missed out on the kind of snippets we've seen over the years of the matchup, the basic theory is that Azir got that big range. Vel'Koz also got pretty big range. And also, usually Emperor's Divide is a nope button. If you Emperor's Divide, then Vel'Koz can just ult you through Emperor's Divide, and it has very long range to kind of kill you where you stand. So fully disengaging Vel'Koz is quite hard for Azir to do. Now, you can display super aggressively and shuffle up and deal onto the Azir, but usually you will find it a pretty tricky lane matchup, and also even team fighting against that Vel'Koz.
Well, see how BDD is going to navigate it. Speaking of navigating lanes, Smeb versus CuVee. It's going to be all about Smeb trying to do his best not to get auto-attacked all the time. And give all of that money over to CuVee. Oh, misses the CS.
Come on, CuVee.
He just lost lane. It's over.
We'll give him a do-over, I would say, in this particular game. SnowFlower has gone for the Aftershock. It's been probably this season the most we've seen of the runes. Guardian sometimes, that's a spellbook thing really frisky, but hard to get away with. Gets any lane presence, as
used to be really common, not so much anymore. Or maybe it was really common because Kuzan was playing a lot of Rakan.
The meta changed a lot at the end of the day. Like, there's a lot of supports that do a lot of damage. A lot of enchanters being run there. Took a lot of nerfs on the Rakan, so he got squishier and squishier over time. By trying to throw in some Qs. I actually don't know the name of that ability.
It's called Geometry. No, it's not.
I don't think so.
But that's the only thing I've ever called it, and the only thing I'm ever going to call it. There is only one ability that you need to know the name of when it comes to Vel'Koz, and it is the Disintegration Ray, Papa Smithy.
And that's the one I know.
Yeah.
I know Unraveled Earth as well.
Yeah.
And
wait, Unraveled Earth is
Tectonic
that?
Disruption?
Yeah, Tectonic Disruption
is that?
that's the knock-up.
But
I think
Unraveled Earth is the W that you...
No, that's the rocks that Talia puts down.
You're probably right there. Why don't I think Unraveled Earth? Who knows?
I don't know. I'm going to call it Void Trench. Can we call it Void Trench? This is what it looks like. It looks like a Void Trench.
That's fair. I can't disagree with you on that one. Vel'Koz getting pushed in, doesn't have 3 levels in his W, so doesn't kill the minion as cleanly. Peanut's bot lane.
Already, as the flash forward, it's going to find SnowFlower, who's trying to be the hero, and battle dances his way out. That was about the only way that they could escape that.
That was a sick play by SnowFlower. He did everything right to make sure that his ally didn't go down. Really nicely done by SnowFlower there. We haven't been able to call out his name in positivity too much in 2019. Yeah, it was actually very, very well done.
Yep, doesn't even get killed after the second dredge line is going to land. But that defense onto Prey, absolutely fantastic. But they did have to use both of their flashes in order to escape it. So the flash quotient is going to go in favor of GenG, and Peanut still has his, which is very important.
But he literally ripped away his Prodigal Explorer from the
jaws of death.
From the jaws of death, like literally would have been dead from that particular Q coming through from life. So what we'll say is SnowFlower PogChamp on that particular play.
Haven't been able to say it too much, as we're just going to cut the video, as Fly did manage to hit. What was that ability called again, Papa? As the knockup does land onto Ruler. Will he be using his flash? Flash forward, and Skond is going to be there as life max range dredge line to get himself out, as Ruler pulls back the feathers to keep himself alive, and we've got the great escapes on both sides of the rift.
Slivers on both sides, but enough to escape. Score with the lane gank there. I actually liked that with the flash down on life. They were going to hit someone. Going to help with the pushing as well. Nice gank timing from Score.
Yeah.
On point with that one.
But it is going to be a trade down once again, because it's flash for flash. And Score had to invest his, and Ruler had to invest his. So.
But the nice thing there is that the jungler comes in to get the laner's flash. So the laning state is going to be much more relevant than the jungler's flash. More often than not, his top side. That's a lot of damage.
Yep, Smith might just kill CuVee here. Gets himself an Inspire Shield back, but that's 200 health. Flash forward. Not going to be enough damage, and Peanut's going to come in to try and clean this one up.
Look at the rage bar.
Yeah.
Peanut's smart. He's like, nope.
Yeah. The
Not dealing
meat's
with
going to
that.
get cold.
That would have been a kill for Smith.
Yeah. That 1v1 is not one that you'd want to take. So CuVee going to look to teleport back in here.
Many junglers have been baited by that Renekton. Exactly that one. That was the one that was going to get the double kill, or at least one kill. And that scenario gets TP straight up there, 49 CS. Renekton, pretty good laner, it turns out.
Absolutely. And gets to pick himself up boots too as well. The Merc Treads have come in. So not going to be CC too much in this lane from now on either. Score lying in wait on this bottom side, and Peanut there for the counter gank. The reads coming in as life is going to face check. Good knockup comes down, but Aftershock is going to be there for the Nautilus to keep him alive. And we're going to once again have this Mexican standoff between the bottom lanes.
Always fun to see junglers shadowing successfully. Almost feels like Occam's razor half the time as they're telling each other where they're going to go because they are in the right position at the right time. So good stuff from Peanut there to be there for the counter gank. No kills going to pick up. And Nautilus is, of course, one of the face checkers we do have still in the meta.
Yep. A few camps on the top side of the map for Score to pick up, so there might be some respite for both of these bottom laners. Peanut also with his red buff still available.
This game goes on. Teamfights here will be interesting. Vel'Koz Xayah is a lot of damage, but you need a front line for those sort of champions, backliners, to actually put out damage, and they've got it, right? Skarner Nautilus. There's at least 1.5 to 2 tanks there, and Karma's going to make everyone a little bit tankier. So definitely some team fights possible. As Peanut 6.
Another dredge line is going to land here, and the Impale, you're not getting away this time. First blood goes over to Ruler, and that is bad news for you KT fans at home.
And Peanut's use of time has just been more on point than Scorers. When he's gone places, good things have happened for GenG, and the first blood goes on exactly the person you want. It's on Rule.
Well, maybe it will be an earlier cull than 16 minutes this game, Papa.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we're reading from this one.
15 minutes.
Well, Fly is once again losing in farm, but not by as much, I believe. 8-minute mark. BDD just very good at killing creeps on Azir.
Smeb has always been a Renekton player, so it coming more back into the meta is fun. I want to feel like, do you remember the story when Smeb started popping off even harder on the Rumble, and the story was that he and Marin had become close friends after 2015?
Yeah.
And while Marin was in the LCK, he trained up Smeb on his dark techniques on the Rumble. I wonder if the same is true on his Renekton, because he was a good Renekton player too.
Yep. Feeling like they have a lot of similarities, good old Marin and Smeb. The Rumble being the absolute highest tier as far as those are concerned.
I miss Marin.
I miss Marin too.
There was a flawed player whose high highs were enough to make him world champion.
Absolutely. Was he world's MVP in 2015, 2016?
2015. Duke was the SKT top laner in 2016.
He was.
As the years went on, Marin won the battle against another world champion top laner in Impact to become SK Telecom T1's sister team, combining top laner. Impact went to pastures different, went over to North America. I think some things have happened since then and now. Don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. Something. I mean, there was an MSI. I think Korea is still the best. KT, though, are going to be able to get themselves some tower plates here on the bottom side of the map. GenG struggling to hold on to the control that they've picked up, despite some items coming in here for Ruler on his way towards the Essence Reaver pretty comfortably. Now it's Peanut. He's booking it. That is another Impale to come in. Dredgeline flashed out of the way of, though. SnowFlower is going to be safe this time. In goes BDD. Takes a really long way around. That isn't going to find too much, and there are some guffaws from the audience.
I agree. There was some guffaws. They were like, well, that was a fun way to get there.
Yeah.
It was more fun than effective.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the journey is often the most important part, and that was one hell of a journey that BDD went on.
Has anyone told him which way the journey's going?
A magical way.
Because right now, the destination might not be where he plotted, Atlas. The destination appears to be relegation.
Oh no, and they've got an Explorer on their team. They've got no excuse for not knowing the direction. This cartography has to be up there. How can you be an Explorer without it?
I'm probably the most knowing of cartography on this particular desk because...
Why is that?
My brother's first vocation was cartographer.
Oh, that's cool.
He's a pilot.
Yeah, I was never in the Boy Scouts or anything like that, so
Me neither.
I know basically nothing about it. The orientation.
You know what? We could fill a room with topics you know near nothing about, Atlas.
Hey, and you too. Yeah, there's a lot of topics in the world, all right, Papa? League of Legends, pretty good, all right?
A hot topic around here.
Yeah, exactly. I've shopped at Hot Topic once, so that's
what
a
did you
topic
buy?
that
I want to know what you bought at Hot Topic.
No, some hipster T-shirt or something.
What did you buy? A Death Cab for Cutie shirt?
Maybe. I did like Death Cab for Cutie a lot back in the day.
Does I'm a Cutie Pie have a Death Cab for Cutie inspired shirt?
That would be super good.
I know.
Death Cab were a great band. I'm a big fan of Death Cab.
Do you remember the League of Legends / a Death Cab for Cutie mashup moment that happened in history?
No. What was that?
The Emumu Skin Splash has a reference to it there. I forget the exact reference, but it's in there.
That's really cool.
And Cho'Gath Eat World for the Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah.
That was great too.
Some fantastic bands from my youth. As Peanut is going to discover Shelly being taken down, as BDD is going to get flashed out of the way of, again, a merry journey.
He's had the most... what's the word I'm looking for? Is it the least impactful, but most things happening on adventures? He's like the adventures of Huckleberry Finn Azir in this game, and in all of that shuffling, GenG get another objective.
I'm not sure how he manages to shift Sands to Narnia, but he does it almost every single time. That's a knock up onto Ruler, but he still has Featherstorm and the mana for it, so he's going to be fine. Geometry comes in.
Have you ever met someone who's amazing at saying the most words and saying the little behind that? And this is me asking you, Alice.
Yes, I have met that person before, Papa Smithy, yeah.
I feel like that's BDD.
I feel like he's
this
close.
game.
Yep. No, that is very true. He presses the most buttons for the least reward. And kills the most minions for the least reward as well, apparently, as SnowFlower discovers that Life is heading back home, decides not to disrupt him. Ooh, Life home. Yeah, let's check out the top lane. And now we don't have to.
Yeah, you got what you asked for. You liking it?
Nope. CuVee, I do like the fact that he's brought a cool glove. That's a bit more Noggery style rather than the CuVee we saw last time.
You got me excited. I thought he had a Brawler's glove.
Oh, crit Karma. That's the dream.
What does Karma's crit animation look like?
I don't know.
I need to know now.
Does she have one? I know Zillion didn't have one for a really long time. That's why Crit Clock was so fun. You never knew he was critting. He was just critting.
Crit clock. Sounds like a great thing to type in old chat as you walk up to gank someone as Crit Zillion.
Amen. That's super good. Plus, you can self-peel with your ultimate. Just amazing. We had a good friend back in Australia that played himself a lot of Crit Clock.
I was more of a Criddlesticks man.
You were a Criddlesticks man? Yeah, the hipsters played the Crit Clock. Criddlesticks was far too meta.
I think we might have encouraged someone to do something just awful.
Yeah, please don't actually do it. No,
don't
really
play Crit Clock.
I'm pretty sure he does have a crit animation now, but I'm not 100%. The game changes so much that all of these facts that we have sometimes just don't exist anymore.
I played in a scrim with Chief Swiffer, who of course gone around the world, still currently on.
Oh, and there might be a very dead Bray. Blade Caller, some damage.
And he was not happy on this. He played Crit Karthus in the scrim. We were a really good team, as you can tell.
Yeah, really good.
And I found it very hard to play the game because it looked so damn funny. When Karthus had that high attack speed.
Oh my god, that's so silly.
It was really silly.
Like
this is going to be less silly. This is just tentacle monsters.
This might just be disintegration. Onto SnowFlower, has to get out of the way, but can he get far enough? The flash has to be used. And that was one tick away from absolutely assured disintegration.
I feel like KT is the young person being taught life lessons, and GenG are the kind of elders, even though that's like the actual opposite when it comes to ages here.
Yep.
Because anything that KT can do, GenG have just done it simpler.
Yeah. It's not even better. It's just
What? It's
easier.
better when they got the thing.
Yeah.
KT have literally flattered to deceive. If they had a political platform, I wouldn't vote for them. They're not delivering on any of my promises.
No, there are a lot of promises made, and they're just going about it the wrong way. You can see that they're trying, but they're just not able to actually find the results. It's quite upsetting. CuVee has a Fiendish Codex now, so it might be second item for the Athenes, or, of course, the Ardent Sensor to come in. Ardent Sensor timing at second item can be good for fighting around some of these neutrals that they might be going for, but once again, KT has had a monopoly on the Drakes this game, despite Shelly going over to GenG.
Why doesn't GenG have a video series where Life teaches support champions called Life Lessons?
That is... Why can't he just teach life lessons? Why does it have to be League of Legends?
5 years old.
Yeah, but it'd be way more funny coming from him.
Have you ever met a pro gamer who was under like 22
That's the
that
joke.
could
That's
teach
why
life lessons?
That's why it's so good.
He could teach weight loss. He looks great.
He does. He looks much better now. Score to try and steal this one away, and Impale has come in, but Peanut, they're going to hug each other. The disintegration! And the Silas is just going to exit. SnowFlower soon to follow us now. Smev has to flash in, does find Ruler. The heal comes down. Life will have to flash, does do so, and gets out of the way. The Sand Soldier poke damage not going to be enough. And GenG steal 2 kills and a Drake, and it's all good for them.
All comes through, gonna hit Peanut, but no problem. Continues to be just fine on the side of GenG. The scary Crocodile just not able to match what Fly is able to do, grouping up nice and early. And if GenG keep grouping like this, all his items are only gonna get more strong.
Yeah, and once again, I mean, it's a huge lead for BDD as far as farm. CuVee comes down towards the bottom side. Mantra Q is a lot of damage. There is still an Ezreal there in that brush. Smeb is lying in wait as well. CuVee flashes on over. Prey might be in trouble, but now Ruler has to flash to get out of the way. It was a cunning ruse. The sidestep was good, but not good enough, as the Crocodile is going to eat the Feathered Lady. CuVee now wants his W back up to stop Score from killing him as BDD. Can he shift some sands? Less creatively than last time. He actually doesn't want to. Now CuVee is taking them on a merry jaunt.
He's gonna get
around
out.
this map. He's going to be fine. All right. This is a yakety sax kind of game as we're doing it one more time. Smeb in trouble. He's downloaded. So much damage, but not quite enough, as the tower is the one that does finally fall.
Action a minute. Somehow, after action in no minutes earlier, a lot of things happening here between GenG and KT. Ruler definitely pays the price. They did not expect Smeb to be on the world's longest camping trip in the second brush in bot side, but on a merry retreat. That almost feels like when you go walkabout as an Australian.
Yeah.
Kind of the dream time walkabout was in full display there. The double hug, as we call it.
And that was the walkabout that Score took immediately to the death chamber. That was not a successful one. Smeb is a big Crocodile. I'd say that he's rocking out, Papa, at this point in time.
With his croc out?
Yes, indeed.
But not with Marin's croc.
That's what Marin did most of the time, because he would rock out with his own croc every single time.
Damn. A croc aficionado.
He was a croc aficionado. I don't personally like crocs very much.
Me neither.
I think they're a bit silly. Apparently very comfortable, but I've never worn them.
I actually hate crocs now that you mention it. I was actually thinking of crocodiles in that story.
Oh yeah.
I actually really don't like crocs. They make me upset.
They make
only
me upset
one
too.
thing, only one piece of clothing makes me more upset.
What's that?
What's
jandals?
Or footwear, I should say. Is you know those socks that have the individual
Oh
toes?
no!
I hate
Oh
them.
yeah, me too. Me too. That's...
Nothing could be worse.
Oh god. Oh, little toe hugs all day.
Instantly, my day is ruined when that happens. When I see that. But no, it's comfortable.
What about the
like,
shoes with the toes?
No, they're not pretty.
Yeah. I can understand if you're surfing, you know? That's fine. Otherwise, very strange. So there are our fashion tips for you guys.
Yeah.
Crocs and socks with the toes cut out.
Don't
wear both of those.
We wear matching clothes, so we won't give you do's, but we can give you don'ts.
Yeah, exactly right. We are... I mean, we basically wear a t-shirt and jeans every single day, so I don't know whether we necessarily qualify to give people fashion advice.
Prey is back wave clearing in mid. What are we building towards us, KT Rolster? Because we do feel like GenG's comp kind of does enough of everything to be very, very strong as the game goes on. Small chance that BDD or SnowFlower could pull off the engage from the heavens, but otherwise GenG should have a lot of options. If GenG get to play this game, tanking and turning off Baron, I feel like we've seen this game before. So I want to see if KT can create a power point. And I just don't see where that is likely to be on the Rift, because I don't think Smeb ever gets strong enough to be solo killing CuVee.
And CuVee has built for surviving in that lane as well, and now has about as much cooldown reduction as you could possibly ever have. It's getting scarier and scarier for the KT Rolster squad. You have to feel like the way that they get back into the game is something like one of those wombo engages and an Emperor's Divide that delivers the enemy team into a Dominist full rage Crocodile.
When it comes to actually getting picks, the sashes have been put together by Score, BDD, and Prey. So SnowFlower is the person you want.
Yep.
When you are the Skarner, he will die instantly. Not going to happen for a while. Infernal in 8 seconds. Who's face checking on KT's side? There's a lot to face check here.
Yeah, Trisha Barrage doesn't actually get a heck of a lot of value there, as life is pretty tanky at this point in time. CuVee, sorry, Peanut, moving around pretty quickly. There's the dredge line, the flash forward, Score immediately gets out of the impale. A lot of damage down, though, as the geometry is being performed real nicely here by Fly in the backline. They soften up the members of KT and move back towards the Drake.
They're going to lose lane priority in the bot side. Smeb has more time to push that one up. Damage opened. No Mountain Drake for GenG, remember.
Yeah, they are going to do a lot of damage to this one. It's going down extraordinarily quickly. GenG just looking to try and get out of this one.
Why?
Yeah, SnowFlower's going to dive forward, but he takes way too much damage. Fly picks up the kill. Disintegration Ray comes in. And after SnowFlower played that first engage in this game so well, that was a disaster.
Can't make plays like that if you're the only non-QSS member. Went for a flank that wasn't on the cards. They had partial vision, but not full vision. And SnowFlower goes down. It was after the Infernal was already dead. If you do that 5 seconds before, it's like, well, whoopsie, but yeah. I don't really know what the payoff was there for SnowFlower. It was disappointing.
Well, 0-3 now for the Rakan. He is close to 100% of their deaths, apart from score being obliterated around the Dragon Pit earlier on in this game. CuVee returns to the top side. BDD continues to farm out very, very well.
Yeah.
But he's, it's feeling like ELO hell for this Azir player at this point in time.
I've seen enough of the 0-1-0 BDD games that,
yeah.
Unfortunately, it was a bit of a desync. I just don't get what we were hoping to achieve walking that direction.
That was the most stealthy disintegration ray I've ever seen.
Well, it didn't really require too many ticks to kill.
That's true. But it was invisible. It was through the wall. It's pretty cool.
Run, Peanut.
He's just going to dive on in, but BDD has the QSS. And Peanut, even if he pressed the R button, he might have just taken too much damage.
I don't know. Again, he walked up. He was kind of hooning around there to use an Australianism. He's trying to show off his lowrider. It didn't seem that BDD was that impressed.
He's got a pretty souped up lawnmower at this point in time. That's what I call that particular skin. I like it. I like it when Skana and Kog'Maw are in meta, because then you can be the oven and the lawnmower at the same time in the same game.
You could probably get together some sort of mechanical contraptions team, because you could have the
Scion,
Mecha Aurelion Soul as
Ooh,
well.
That's true. And you could have like, yeah. So Scion, you'd need Aatrox, like the Pacific Rim.
There's
Aatrox,
a lot of mecha
that sort of works,
right?
Yeah.
So I think we got the Mecha Malphite could be the support.
Oh yeah, Kha'Zix could be in there somewhere, mid lane.
You would put Kha'Zix mid lane.
I would put Kha'Zix mid lane.
Alex Edge also would RSVPS onto that one.
As would Ambit. As Ruler discovers a True Shot Barrage that sails by and decides to offer back a bit of damage. Peanut comes in, Score in trouble.
Laugh went off, but the Score was able to get out of the animation before it fully applied on the suppression.
Yep, not going to pop it though, so still has that button available.
We're not quite at the timing. 2.5, but not 3 yet onto Ruler, so closer and closer to some wanton displays of damage, and in fact, he's waiting for his best friend CuVee to finish off his item.
Yep. You know that he's it's coming. It's on the way. Not quite there just yet. Smurf's going to dive forward. CuVee's going to move back, and the Crocodile has no way of answering CuVee. Even though he is ahead in farm, it doesn't matter. CuVee's buttons mean more in a team fight.
This game's actually inspired me to make my own webcomic. I've got a great idea and a great name that I need to trademark.
All right.
It's about someone who works at the censorship office who's really serious about his craft. He's an ardent censor.
Brandon Valdez is still here. Brandon! Hey,
I got a Marvel deal. What can I say? They're making it into a movie.
Oh, God, no.
I'm part of the cinematic universe.
Can you stay there?
For that money, yeah.
All right, let's go back to the game. Not that I really want to anymore. As CuVee and Smeb continue to fight bottom side. GenG want to try and find some vision, but now KT do have a lot around this Baron area, and they were able to bully pretty decently against this squad. Ruler was back in base, which is why they were able to move forward, and now they get the bad news. The Ruler has a pretty cool sword that gives him lots of crit damage. Yep. Things could be a real problem, as I believe that went off again. Yeah, tried to grab him over the wall.
There's been a lot of close shaves with the lawnmower here. I should consider playing a little bit more on point.
Just dial back the lawnmower a little bit. You know, you can readjust it. You don't want to make the grass too short. It will never grow back. As the tectonic displacement goes off on the top side. I feel like Vel'Koz is just probably one of the worst champions, like, sorry, one of the best champions for trolling play-by-play commentators.
CuVee is one of the best trolls on this particular Karma. Picking up all the gold that he can. On the topic of Vel'Koz, where did geometry rank in your kind of areas of mathematics that you enjoy? There's like algebra and geometry.
I quite liked it. I was a bit of a maths kid. I did a lot of the maths and science when I was at school. And my father is an engineer. I worked with him for 10 years before I became a competitor.
here you are today.
And here I am today.
Right in the middle of the biggest moment of GenG versus
And the
KT.
biggest moment of geometry of the season.
It could be. We're waiting to see.
Yeah, looking for it. This Mountain Drake is going to be the start of something here. As Smeb's looking for a flank, the rest of KT are grouped together.
Peanut really wants to ult SnowFlower.
Yep, Death Charge comes in. You can see the Drake tried to reset as Peanut should be able to take this one, but now is the ensuing fight going to work out for KT. Dredgeline lands. The Death Charge is there, but it's the flash, it's the dash, and Prey gets himself out. KT will disengage, and GenG just take what they want. They don't get the fight, but they do manage to get everything else.
KT have done this so many times in this game, especially as
Ruler
Ruler walks up.
He's bored. He
Got
manages to pick up the kill just by himself, and SnowFlower now finds himself without anyone to protect. Double kill for Ruler as he takes life into his own hands.
And they're going to have to take stock of their lives, KT Rolster, because right now, GenG going to get the Baron. This feels like the big moment we've been waiting for, but the problem for KT isn't as much the catch at the end as to what they were doing before. They're still spending all of this time getting somewhere second and watching someone get something, and very little time getting things of their own. They could have been trying to get side lane turrets around Smeb, or just focusing on pushing that there mid lane to try to get this outer mid lane turret, but they'd already kind of lost the objective around here, and yet we're still grouped waiting to find out what the story was. Story is the Ruler's IE is done, and we waited for the R button to be pressed on SnowFlower. Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, he was just it. Nice work, Ruler. He discovered that he had his trusty Ardent Sensor Karma next to him, got a big shield, and killed BDD.
Yeah. And now more people died.
Yep, and now BDD is that 0-1-0 that you were talking about. Papa the Prophet comes in once again.
Not a good feel for one of our most talented mid laners in Korea. Very forgettable year for him, as yeah, everyone's doing damage now.
Dude, geometry hurts.
It was my least favorite of the math. I was more of an algebra man. Calculus
yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
It's the MVP of the game, that control war that got him so much value.
It's BDD running away once again. Entirely sure what happened to bring him down so incredibly low. Might have had a scuffle with Peanut, but not sure how the Skana did that much damage. More geometry flying forward here from GenG as they look to scare KT away from this turret. Hitting with all of these buttons, but the thing is, Ruler steps forward, KT steps back, Dredgeline comes out once more. Smeb was thinking about this as the opportunity, but it just really isn't. The Sun turret is going to go down as it gets put up. And despite Ruler being on low health, it doesn't matter. The Inspire Shield's going to be there, the Ardent Sensor for the extra healing. It's just insane how you can see a Xayah on low health and know that actually that is about 2,000 more health than you would otherwise think.
But GenG are trying to do a couple of things. I guess Ruler might want to heal up some minions, go to the side lane first, so they're going to abate from this mid lane inhibitor for now and go for the standing gold next Baron play on the side of GenG. They're not in a rush. They don't have any dinner reservations like we do, so they're happy to keep pushing forward.
Still 70 seconds, though, before that Baron does wear off, so another push is going to be available, and CuVee's being annoying here in this mid lane. We'll be able to get that inhibitor with one more auto. Actually, doesn't need to, as the minions are going to take that one down for him. Geometry lands on the score into the back line as Smeb has the Dominus pre-popped, flashes forward, but Ruler gets out of the way. The Featherstorm timing was so good. SnowFlower has to get the hell out of there. Smeb should be dying here as the double kill for Ruler comes down. He just cannot be stopped with so much support on this team, and he's still running forward looking for more.
They're looking to break the base and maybe even more on the side of GenG. They've done all the hard work. They know this is their victory. 2-0 is on the way.
It has 30 minutes.
Where that timer's going to be, Atlas, because it's closer to 30 than 40, which is not the GenG we know.
That's true, but KT didn't have the early game that they had in game number one. They were looking like they were in a good position. There were no 50-50 moments. This was all GenG all the time. Nexus turret's now under fire. Prey's just going to get smoked for some reason from Peanut. Last Nexus, one Nexus away from a GenG 2-0 and revenge against a KT Rolster that took them down earlier on in the season. Gonna have to wait a few moments though. They go back and reset, look to claim the victory after this.
I like to think of that smite as a love tap between two old friends.
Yeah.
Prey and Peanut. Those days are over. Here is the play. Smeb looking for the hard engage. I wonder if they noticed either the TP or that the fact that the minions were taking AoE damage from the Dominus, but Ruler was ready. Ruler, we trust, fly over the wall, does a lot of damage as well.
And Fly once again ulting through a wall, denying any engage opportunity for BDD. Or Score, in fact, who had to get the hell out of there also. So now GenG come back with a whole bunch of really cool items. Almost a sweet hat done for CuVee. Ruler managed to get a spatula in his game of TFT, so a Hurricane has been picked up. Also, he's 7-1-1. 700 gold bounty, that's the biggest one you can get these days. And he has a secret agent next to him in Life. Really has been doing a whole lot of work. I'm really sad that I used the take life in your own hands line in this game when he was playing Yuumi last game. Where literally he could have taken
Hold
life
on
into
to your
his own
best
hands.
lifelines for later. Speaking of lifelines,
Peanut is just going to run through. I'm just passing through, guys. Just passing through. And Gargoyles don't play
so
means that
tanky.
yeah, it's just insane. Smeb's going to die instantly as BDD comes around, but Ruler, he's found him. 3 auto attacks, and that is a dead Azir. Now SnowFlower, the quickness isn't quick enough at all, and they can't even kill Life. He goes into stasis, and now Ruler's caught up. Prey has to flash to get out of the way. Life picks up a kill somehow, as now CuVee flashing in will secure the victory for GenG. It's a sad time to be a KT fan, but GenG are well and truly on the rise, and they're causing massive disruptions in these standings.
and expect significant delays in your GenG series once more. They're taking their time. They are the tortoise to the hare. But the tortoise got there in the end. And GenG, they may not be targeting first. I think they still have too much of a one-note style. But if they want playoffs, if they want their playground of World's Gauntlet, who's to say they're not peaking at exactly the right time?
Yep. We thought it might have been a little bit too early when they started on this win streak, but they just continue to get better and better. They even ramped up their play from game 1, moving into game number 2. That being said, it felt like based on the composition they had in game number 1, they were just probably gonna win. And that's what it felt like in game number 2 also. So congratulations to GenG, and still consolation going over to KT Rolster, a team in turmoil, despite all of the names of the most famous players in the LCK, some of them at least. Just not able to get themselves together into a coordinated unit. And SnowFlower, from a brilliant play at the beginning of Game 2, went back to probably one of the worstest plays.
You know, I don't know if it makes top 3 for 2019, unfortunately, for SnowFlower, who's been just not able to channel his, no doubt, historical engage plays into actual immediate impact. You gotta pick your broadcast words. As Peanut has also been someone we've had a lot of short words and criticism for, but who is on a tear. Really nice series for him. He plays his champions, he plays them well, and even the Lee Sin comes back and looks convincing at MVP.
Yeah, MVP comes in.
On a champion he couldn't play. Fly's got a smile. The oldest mid laner, now that he's starting again, older than FLICKR.
What's Kermit doing there?
Look at this really obvious, like, should have been a cat in the middle motivational poster of We Fly.
Ah, yes. Oh my goodness, adorable. Ruler is going to walk on back after doing a bajillion damage in that game. Also had a pretty good game number 1 as well, if you guys will remember. And this is what happens when you change from putting Ruler on Sona 2 games in a row to putting Ruler on the hardest of hyper carries 2 games in a row.
Yeah, also, this is what happens when you play Griffin and then you play KT Rolster.
That's not what you're supposed to... That ruins my point completely. Do you think if they played Sona this series, it would have been similar to the Griffin series, or... No, they would have won. They would have won. Doesn't feel good, does it, guys?
No.
Doesn't feel good at all. KT have really not been a contentious team thus far, but this looked much better from GenG. And if they were playing the Sona in 1, I'd actually be quite sad, because then they wouldn't have adapted. They would have just done the same thing against a worse team, managed to get over the line because they're better players, instead of actually inspecting the meta and changing things up. This time around, it is going to be a better look for GenG. Look at how half full my cup is, Bubba.
Your cup is so facetious right now because you're praising them for playing Let's Scale to late game with Ruler. It's the only thing they know how to do.
At least they did it. And they did it good.
But you're like, yeah, they adapted really good to go all game for Ruler.
But they didn't play Sona, man. Sometimes you got to go back to the stuff that worked when stuff really doesn't work in a horrendous way.
They're really good at putting a lot of items and shields onto one of the best 80 carries in the world, yes.
Congratulations. He died there, though, see?
He did. Yeah. Well, what to say about KT versus GenG when you're spitting hot mess on your side?
I'm sorry.
This is a set list I would skip, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
As BD wanted to skip, it feels like a lot of this series. And, you know, he farmed a lot and died.
He did. I mean, there's a lot of 2019 that BDD's wanted to skip because he's one of our most talented players and hasn't really been able to show much of it. As this was an attempted engage from KT.
I hate custom. It's so sad.
So sad.
I want to scream about these players, but
I
it's
know.
they just lose. And they didn't really do anything either. They tried a lot of things. They really didn't work.
They tried to kill Peanut here.
This part was the highlight of the game. He doesn't even notice them until he has, it feels like, more health than all.
He's like, I'm going to press an R button now, I guess. I don't know. And this is not the Ezreals that we've really been seeing. The Vel'Koz, of course, exploded at the end of this fight. But
that moment was like when you're playing Mario Kart and you're lapping the computer players and trying to get slipstream from them. That's what he was doing. It was like, you guys are making me faster.
Oh my god, that is such a depressing analogy, but so perfect. As this time, the Vel'Koz did some damage. No one on the side of KT did very much whatsoever. And neither did Peanut, but that's okay.
They didn't do a lot of damage either.
Yeah.
On KT's side.
I mean, Prey shots.
I heard what you said, just to be clear. But yeah. Well, that was a series. 40,000 damage from Fly, who found another new champion. It's a crown champion, which is even better.
Yep.
He's rolling on, and you know what? He's eyeing that Victor and being like, maybe, just maybe, gonna bring back my Victor.
Yep, and he needs to be really bad at Syndra.
Yeah.
When he
and
starts
really
learning it, and then get really good at it. But he needs to start off terrible. As finally, Ruler is going to pick up the MVP. Means our interview will be with Ruler and with Peanut. 9-1-4. Yeah, you earned it.
100% kill participation on the let's give shields to Ruler strategy.
Yep.
Worked really well.
It did. As they're pretty good at playing it as well. They've had a bit of practice with this particular style of composition, as we've been mentioning throughout this broadcast.
It was a Ruler ending, but it turns out I'd heard this story before, and even though I'm 8 in this metaphor, I asked for another story. Yeah. This story was one I was...
Yeah, this is like, Dad, no, you
can't
can't leave
tell
yet.
The story
this story
about
sucks.
the 3 damn bears. Give me a new story.
And why does your story have to be so boring and long? Yeah.
He's like, I got a new one for you. Tortoise in the head.
Ah. Well, because, you know, the story of at least Hanwha versus Jin Air, something happened in that story. That was a really exciting story about a lot of nothing. As we're going to go to the interview with the Ruler and Peanut, so here's Jason.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Jason with the translation, and we'll be hearing from Peanut Ruler from GenG. It was a GenG style game. So Peanut, how was today's match? So today, for game number 1, was a little bit struggling, but as GenG, we were able to kind of hold on to the late game and we were able to turn the game around. So about the GenG style, Ruler is the focal player, right? The game number 1, I think we were actually like so defensively playing, but I think things went quite well. The game number 1, you played Lee Sin because, well, you actually haven't found any success during the last 3 games in the Summer Split. Yeah, I was also reluctantly playing in it. However, I think I was quite getting better at it, and also there weren't many jungle cards open for me to kind of choose. So yeah, I didn't really want to play it, but luckily I was able to like steal that Baron and we were able to win the game. So speaking of the Baron, still we have the replayer over here. So, how did you calculate everything? So, the Fly landed the CC to make Azir unable to kind of use his ultimate, and also I had my stopwatch with me, so I was able to kind of earn time. So everything went quite well, and I was a little bit lucky. I want to say this because I used my stopwatch, so I was just pressing the keyboard so hard. I think things went according to my plan. So it's just sad that things went according to your expectation. What does that really mean? So I planned about earning time with stopwatch, and it actually happened in game, so that's what I meant. That was one of the biggest super play in the game number 1. However, Ruler, your Xayah was popping off in both games. So, a lot of players in the top side, they're picking up the MVPs, so aren't you feeling a little bit sad about it? Or do you feel more like reliable to their teammates? Well, I'm really happy that my teammates are doing such a great work. However, I think actually Life is getting the MVP that he doesn't really deserve, but well, he's doing a pretty good job, so I'm just okay with it. So Ruler, it took about a month for you to get this MVP, so congratulations. And your Xayah, so is on a 5-1 score, almost close to an undefeated score. So, what's the biggest strength of Xayah compared to other marksman champions? Well, in the late games, like I have this feeling that I'm like I cannot lose, so that's why I kind of prefer it, and also it has a great skill set to kind of survive. So Xayah was walking straight in. Well, I thought that if we just push in, we knew that we were just gonna win. And also in game 2, 3 players on the side of KT went for QSS. Wasn't that a little bit tricky as Garner? Well, we actually had the huge lead even before they had the QSS, so that didn't really bother me much. And also, since too many players were building for QSS, they had a very low damage, so it was actually good for us. So only 4 matches are left for the summer split, and the standings are always getting upset by all the matches. So how you're expecting or predicting the end of the split? Well, I have to agree that our performance has kind of like went down. So however, if we just do our best, I think we can win all the remaining matches. So we're just gonna practice really hard. And Peanut, another casual day of God Peanut's carry, right? So any resolution for upcoming matches? So in the last SKT series, we had a big loss, but I think that was quite a bit of a winnable game. So we still think the same way for the remaining games, so we're just going to practice really hard for our upcoming series, so keep supporting us. Thank you.
오늘도 젠지가 승리했다는 소식 전해드리면서 앞으로의 승리도 계속 응원하도록 하겠습니다.
So this will be the end of the interview with Peanut Roller from GenG, and I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ji-sun, for your beautiful translation. And we have a 2-0 for the end of the evening. That means we'll be able to be getting over to some bulgogi for dinner. Hope you guys are also having a wonderful evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time of day it is where you are. And GenG, like you say, skyrocket to 3rd place after that victory.
And guess who plummets to 9th place but KT Rolster. So many things change, and yet a lot stays same between spring and summer. GenG, like you say, in 3rd, and they're 5 out of 6. And that includes Our Life, Griffin, Sandbox, Kingzone, SKT, and then today KT. So it's not like they were beaten up on the bad teams by any means. So GenG want to say they're back, and you know, I will be a noted skeptic because they really did just take a chill pill to late game and beat a team not as good as them in this particular series, but there's always next series when it comes to the LCK. Speaking of, we start off with a very nice series tomorrow. It will be you and LS.
Yeah.
Bringing SK Telecom T1 versus Griffin. If it is to be an SKT victory, things get even tighter. SKT in much better form, but they beat GenG. We would say that was the first open bracket, close bracket, real team they've faced in a long while. Now they're facing Griffin, who have had their struggles. We end the week with a match.
This feels like it's gonna be a game. Papa Smithy, Jeanette Green Wings versus Dom1. I hope the Blitzcranks are back out in full force.
And
for
Big
LS
Chungus could be rolling out on the
yeah.
3-star Zed. Let's go.
Yep, I'm hoping so. Just Grace, you can take a timeout. I want Big Chungus to come back in there.
I should probably message LS. I think he's coming to Bulgogi tonight. I hope so.
Yeah, I think so.
He's far away, but we're hoping that we're going to see him for
Yep.
some tasty dinners. It's Papa's treat, turns out, for today.
I'm
Felt
paying
like
for
it.
drinks.
That's right. We got this.
Yeah, maybe you got the better one. I don't know. We'll see how things go.
You
We're
got to
gonna
work tomorrow, so
Yeah, we got to be responsible tomorrow. But
Exactly.
this man, you know, you've got a few days off.
I
You could
do.
really go hard. If you
I
felt
have
like it.
I have just a small assortment of days. I'm going to enjoy them just the way I
No,
love to.
that's not true. You've got some VOD reviewing to do on Tuesday.
true.
That's what you have to do. So you still need to keep yourself relatively nice. So I think my bill is not going to be too high whatsoever. But that first match is going to be super fun.
Indeed.
We've got Griffin coming off that KT victory as well, so not entirely sure what that means. We'll be able to discover what it means tomorrow morning, or I call it morning because I often wake up relatively late, but it is going to be tomorrow afternoon, 5 p.m. KST.
That's something to look forward to tomorrow to close out the week, but LEC coming up later. Send it away.
Exactly right. See you later, guys. We'll see you back for the last day of this week tomorrow.
You take me higher when I feel low. Make my world brighter when I'm alone. I keep on rolling, but with your fuel. You're like my gasoline that makes my dream come true. 'Cause this is the beginning. Together we'll be winning. Make my soul I'm feeling feather light. You're my desire, my cookie love, my burning fire, my secret code. I keep on rolling, oh with your fuel. You're like my gasoline that makes my dream come true. 'Cause this is the beginning.
Have you ever wondered how it feels when everybody does what you say? Have you ever wondered what it's like to rule the world for a day? I'll fight until the end. This place won't